This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villian Report, and Red Zone Range. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla Hour, Broseph Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and M-Maniacs. The nightly shows are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle Podcast, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, Off the Rails, and Detroit Lions News. Hope you like all the shows. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment.
Hey, my name is Ray Flores. I'm a proud and loyal member of the First and 10 Tailgate. You're listening to First and 10 with my man, the main man, Foz.
First and 10 with Foz, Chicago Bears in the mix. Rapping about football, no room for politics. From the Windy City, we bring the fire. This podcast hot, raising the bar higher. Touchdown after touchdown, we never settle for less. Breaking it down with Foz, we always bring our best. First and 10 with Foz, dance in the crowd, cheering loud and proud. Our spirits never bow. We rep that navy, blue and orange, no room for doubt. Chicago Bears legendary, no team can knock us out. No team can knock us out.
When I'm in Chicago, always the Foz.
Display. Hitting hard like a linebacker, making our way. Foz leading the charge, taking us to the top. Chicago Bears legacy, we can never stop.
Oh no! We suck again!
Welcome everyone to First and 10 with Foz, the most depressing sports podcast out there nowadays. Max, how are we doing tonight, sir?
Not good. I thought we'd switch it up tonight. We'll just do 3 hours of live election results instead.
Yes, get your votes in. This is no politics. No, but thanks for everyone joining us tonight. As always, streaming live on Chicago Bears Fan Forever with my partner, Alberto Valdez. Putting out the most original stuff on social media for the Bears. Make sure you guys get to our page and check everything out. As always, brought to you by my favorite place in the world that always never does me wrong, Bedrocks.
Bedrocks Pizza, the place to be. Hard rock tunes and craft beers for the crowd is roaring, the atmosphere's hot. We'll party hard, give it all we've got. This place is our sanctuary. Shout it aloud, let the music play. Bedrocks Pizza, we're here to stay. Good times and memories never before. Under the neon lights, we're all stars.
All right, everyone. The Caleb Cares charity is going awesome. As a lot of you have probably noticed, started auctioning off some Bears memorabilia on the Facebook group. You guys have been fantastic. Joining in on the raffles. Congrats to our winners so far. There's been a Dan Hampton football. Gave up one of my bling chains for the charity. We're nearing close to $1,000 already for the goal this year. Goal is $4,500, but again, in this economy, groceries, gonna take what we can get at this point. So everyone, appreciate you donating and doing the raffles. This Friday is the day I'm going to be on Orange Friday with Fox 32 morning news. So if you guys want to tune in around 9 a.m., I'm going to be on there Friday. Talking about First and 10, the podcast, Chicago Bears Fan Forever, ESF, all the fun stuff that has been going on that I've been involved in. So make sure you guys tune in. That's going to be this Friday on Fox at 9 a.m. After that, we have our Salute to Service tailgate coming in this Sunday. We have a little rematch of the Bears versus Patriots Super Bowl, my friends. So I'm sure the game's not going to be as great as that one, but it's always a good time. We had DJ Bear, Spinning Tunes, the Hallis Tower, the Fat Bar, Cornhole, Malord, Shots, Beer Pong, you name it. Always a good time at First and 10. Creeping up here, like I said, the last few weeks, me and Maxwell are going to be live at Bedrocks for the San Francisco game. It's going to be a later game. We're going to be there all day on Sunday, so be sure come in the Bedrocks if you're in the area. Maxwell, how you been, my friend?
Not great.
Dude, it's been such a rough couple weeks, guys. Like,
Yeah.
we were so happy for this season. And it's just like, should we be here right now?
No.
Do we deserve to be here?
No.
I put out a little artwork piece earlier saying, like, we don't deserve this as fans. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. It's been being shared around. But, dude, we don't deserve this, dude. Like, the loyalty of Bears fans out there, the respect, the love, the following they have from the entire city, sold out stadiums, fans traveling everywhere, dude. Like, this is bullshit, dude. This is just complete and utter bullshit, dude.
I don't disagree. I mean, going into the year, I mean, listen, in the last year, we said if we're going to draft a number one quarterback, we need to sync it up with an offensive coach. I mean, that was what everyone wanted.
Yeah. Or a very heavy, like-minded offensive coordinator who's going to run you some good plays.
Yeah, not another client of Trace Armstrong. So it's frustrating that it's so frustrating that we're here again. I mean, I'm to the point of like I'm not even angry anymore. It's just apoplectic, I guess. Fuck, I don't know, but it's just it's rinse and repeat with this organization. Again, we kept a coach a year too long. He's not lined up now. When we hire somebody with the new coach, with the new quarterback, does the GM get fired too? We're going to fire another offensive coordinator. It's so frustrating that we're back here.
It's just a vicious cycle.
It's
of
deja fucking view.
Yeah.
Constantly with this organization.
Yeah, dude. God bless you, Bears fans out there. God bless you, Maxwell, because dude, it's becoming extremely difficult to be a Bears fan. It is not easy to be a Bears fan, ladies and gentlemen. So.
It is because like you can see the talent on this team. It isn't like this is 2 years ago when they were trying to go 0-16. You know what I mean? Like there is a lot of talent on this team, and it's just it's frustrating for them. I mean, they've had like 50 team meetings already. I mean, it's just constant frustration.
Dude, you're talking. I love that they're talking. I think you do need to have meetings.
Yes.
But you're talking, and we're still seeing the same shit on the field.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're talking. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, and we'll get into it right now. I mean, obviously, they've been plagued by some injuries of some key people. Yes. I mean, I mean, Brisker was out. I mean,
Kyler Gordon was
Kyler
huge.
Gordon, Montez Sweat, dude.
That was big.
You saw what that defensive line looked like against the run without Montez Sweat there.
Oh, they look like they did early last year.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon, Tevin Jenkins, dude. Dude, everyone's hurt or injured or playing with an injury. I mean, not to give them an excuse of what happened on Sunday should happen because of this, but at the same time, dude, we are missing some key components, which makes us successful.
No doubt, but still putting 9 points up against Arizona's defense is not acceptable. I mean, I don't care. No. You know, our defense wasn't great Sunday, but we still held them 29 points. That's still winnable in the NFL with the offense we should have. Most
definitely. We'll get into the game in a second. Prior to the game, the Bears were going to sit Tyreek Stevenson to start the game. Come to find out later on, he found that out on Wednesday and immediately just leaves practice on Wednesday. As soon as he hears that. What does that tell you about the attitude, the mind frame, the respect this guy has right now for his team, for his coaches, for the organization, acting like that?
Zero. And if I had known that before, I didn't know that before the game. If I had known that, I would have benched him for the whole game. I don't care what happened.
Dude, for real, you got your dick pounded in anyway.
And he wouldn't have dressed. It wouldn't have been like we're just having him sit on the sideline in case somebody gets hurt. He wouldn't have dressed. He would have stood there and stared with a clipboard in his fucking hand. So, yeah, that's terrible. That's strictly 100% coaching there,
dude. everything we're going to talk about tonight, guys, you're going to hear us repeat this.
Yes.
It's on coaching.
Yes.
I mean, obviously the players are on the field not being successful, but you're not being prepared. You're not being given the opportunity. You're not given the success ratio to be successful because of what happens behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into that, dude, Khalil Herbert is now gone. He's at the Bengals for a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
Do you think that's adequate for Khalil Herbert? I mean, we talk about the undervalue of running backs all the time in today's NFL. But at the same time, man, I feel like he's more worthy than
it's almost like if that's all you could get for him, why not just keep him? Because I mean, guys get hurt. He's a nice.
Yeah. What if
he's
Swift goes down?
He's a good player. I mean, listen, I never thought he was Neil Anderson or Walter Payton, but like he was always solid. I mean, he never was a bad football player. It wasn't fucking Velus Jones over there. I mean, he always was solid. So I don't know. I guess you better hope somebody doesn't get hurt, because then he goes to Travis Homer. I think is the next guy down. So
you'll have Roshan number 1 and Homer number 2.
I mean, so that's good. Yeah. Or is this just another Poles feels bad, so he's too nice of a guy, so he trades him to give him a place to play? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never initially thought that until I guess watching Hard Knocks and saw how emotional he got.
Yeah, is that his weakness?
Is that his weakness?
Possible.
Because he has PTSD from his playing days and what happened to him.
It's very possible.
You know what I mean? Like, he might have a great eye for talent. He might have a good mind for business, but I mean, that might be his one flaw is the heartstrings.
It definitely,
especially on the offensive line, it's starting to look like that now.
That's
is
definitely.
He's seeing these bums in himself, and he's trying to give him a chance to like overcome,
coach him up. Yeah. No, that's been a theory for a lot of the guys in the score, and like a lot of guys on the beat that maybe that's beyond his blind spot, that he's drafting himself, knowing that like if we just give these guys a chance, they'll be good. And listen, they had success with Braxton Jones, no doubt. That's a nice pick, 5th round pick. He's made a lot of starts, but you need maulers and killers there, and it just doesn't seem like he wants to draft those kind of guys.
No, definitely not. Getting into the Cardinals game, man, for me, this was a worse game than the Hail Mary.
I mean, definitely.
Hail Mary sucked. It was a shock moment when it happened, obviously, but this was 4 quarters of pure madness and frustration.
Yeah, awful.
Nothing good happened the entire game. I mean, aside from Roman Dunze getting 100 yards,
that's it.
I have nothing positive to say about the rest of the game.
None.
I mean, dude, Shane Waldron is working with DJ Moore. You're working with
Keenan Allen.
Cole you're working Cole Kmet. Roma Dunze, a top 10 wide receiver.
DeAndre Swift has really picked it up lately.
And dude, you watch Caleb Williams drop back, and you see him going through the progressions. And as he's going through the progressions, nobody's open.
Yeah.
That has to do all with your play calling and the routes you're having these guys run.
Yeah.
The defense is all over your shit like fucking flies on shit.
Yeah.
They know exactly what you're going to do. So when he's reading the progressions and no one's open, Shane Waldron is calling horrible routes for these guys, and the defense are just eating up like flies. Like it's uncalled for.
Yeah, his offensive scheme isn't working.
No, it's not working
at all with these players. DJ Moore's frustrated. He's a guy who does not speak up.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys have been frustrated since week 2, 3, 4. They've been talking out. So if you're not going to change anything, then that's malpractice, and someone should be canned high up, if not Eberflus.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore walked off the field in the middle of a play.
Yeah, I know there was more into that
they
than
said
it was.
He was in.
Yeah, but whatever. Regardless of that,
Sure.
You're seeing a lot of frustration from guys you normally don't see it from, and it starts 100% with Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus, and it goes back also to Eberflus. You know, when he first was hired, he wanted to be more of like the top guy. He wasn't going to concentrate on one or the other. It's just going to be the top overseer of everything. And now that he's calling defensive plays all the time, who's watching Shane Waldron on the offense? You know what I mean?
Juan gets it. Caleb goes through progression. We go through depression.
That's 100% correct. He's 100% right.
It's absolutely horrible. And then, dude, Eric knows what's going on. Swift and Kmet, dude. Like the town, the world, everyone is calling for Cole Kmet right now.
It doesn't make sense to me. He's a top tight end in football.
Him all this money
because he's worth it because he's that good. And DeAndre Swift he looked good at flashes in this game.
Yeah.
Then he just disappears. I get it now when you're down 17 points, you have to start passing the second half.
Cole Kmet, 3 attempts to be passed to in the last 2 games.
It's unacceptable.
Dude, it's unacceptable.
Completely unacceptable. Yeah. That's what we saw Gerald Everett for. He can, or we saw Mercedes losing the fucking team. Let him be the 6th offensive lineman.
Dude, and we talked about this earlier in the year because you saw it happen. You see it happen over the last 20 years with the Bears. The defense is phenomenal. What happens after time goes on and the offense is shitty?
They get wore out.
They get frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're tired of out there beating their dick in, getting the ball, stopping them, getting turnovers. When the offense goes out there like a bunch of fucking knuckleheads and just cough it up and go 3 and out, and then they barely caught their breath and they're back out there again fighting the battle.
Yeah.
Well, the offense is just like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, the offense is being right now. It looks like a third string quarterback's in running it. I mean, it's bad. I mean, that's not a knock on Caleb. It does not look like a functioning NFL offense again. And it's just so frustrating when you have this much talent.
We have functioning offense.
Yeah, we have talent.
Players.
There's talent there. We get the offensive line is terrible, no doubt about it. Yeah. Caleb was running for his life a lot of that game, no doubt about it. I mean, within like a second, these guys. Same time, Caleb's starting to miss a lot of throws. He's starting to overthrow a lot of people. That's nerve wracking. Like, is he starting to see ghosts already? Like that makes me very nervous.
He's on pace right now to be the 6th most sacked quarterback in a season ever. Sure. History of football, dude.
Yeah. And he probably should have taken 4 more on Sunday if he wasn't I'm not saying he's Mr. Elusive, but he knows how to juke players out of sacking him.
Oh my God, dude. His elusiveness and his scramble and some of the moves.
His scrambling is good. Yeah. He's good.
Like you say, he should have been sacked 40 more times already than he has.
Yeah, it's not good.
Dude, Matt Eberflus, dude. This is we talk about the million different things all night happening. There is a core, and that core is Matt Eberflus. And I don't care if we win out the rest of this year. There will be players rising above poor coaching.
Yes.
This man needs to go.
Yes.
He sucks.
Yes.
He is a guy sitting on top of a pile of gold saying that I'm rich now. What do I do with it? I don't know what to do with this money. I don't know how to spend it or live out. Like, what do I do with it?
He's in way over his head.
Yeah, he's in way over
his head. He has no idea what he's doing. You can hear him talk. He uses all these coach terms, but they mean nothing because he doesn't really know what they mean. And I'm not knocking him. He's obviously a good defensive coach.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But you're a head coach. That doesn't matter. Yeah. Like if your offense is not getting it, you're going to get fired for that. So you need to figure it the fuck out. Like you can have somebody come in and call the Tampa 2 defense. You hired a guy to do it, Eric Washington. So it starts with him. And then you got to question Poles too. I mean, he stuck with this dude, no doubt about it. You could have hired Jim Harbaugh. You could have hired Ben Johnson. You could have hired Cliff Kingsbury.
You can only spend the money that your ownership
I understand
is
that.
going to allow
I understand
you to
that.
spend. And we all know that at the end of the day, the McCaskies are never going to spend a ton of money on a coach. They never have.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm sure that Poles probably wants to go with every top prospect out there. I mean, he called about Myles Garrett from the Browns. I mean, there was interest there. I mean, which would have probably been one of the biggest acquisitions the Bears have ever done in the history. But again, dude, at the end of the day, you're going to get the yay or nay from the person who writes the check.
Or does this also come back to maybe Poles is too nice of a guy?
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's something to consider. I like Ryan Poles. He's made a lot of good moves. I'm not sitting here knocking him, but is that part of his thing? Is he too good of friends with Eberflus? He doesn't want to fire him. I don't know. I mean, he's not going to have a choice at the end of the season. If this goes as bad as it's going now,
well, dude, I mean,
you're pretty much out of the playoffs right now for good.
Yeah, the rumor on the street is President Kevin is not a fan of Eberflus.
I've heard that too.
Whatsoever. And he has not been a fan.
Then he should come down from his tower worrying about what seats are going to be in the new fucking stadium and maybe take a bigger hand in football.
He's worried about the cocktail lounges in the new stadium.
or the toilets. No shit. So then at the end of the season, then you need to take a bigger role in it.
Dude, I don't disagree. I would love to see our president, Kevin Warren, get a lot more involved in what's happening with the team, what's happening with our moves, and be more involved in the game of football than being a fucking interior decorator.
I'm with you.
I would just call it what it is. Dude, Nagy, man, I think he fooled us all with that fucking Cole's wardrobe and his new beard this year. He came out looking a little suave. I think we all got excited. He started talking a little bit more confident too. And it was all fucking smoke and mirrors because underneath that is the same old bum that was there 2 years ago.
Coaching, I think he is a decent dude, but coaching wise, he's just not a head coach. Some guys are just good number twos. Look, Vic Fangio, that was a perfect example. Excellent defensive coordinator. Finally got his head coaching chance. He fucking pissed the bed. Some guys are just not good head coaching guys. That's just a fact of the matter. Most of them aren't. How many guys get fired every year?
Halftime.
Oh God, that run.
So we talked about the Hail Mary, and that was the main topic the entire week about the team giving up when the game of football is still going on. That was the whole thing with Tyreek Stevenson about not paying attention, not doing what they're supposed to, thinking it's over, thinking it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And then exactly 1 week later, after the Hail Mary, now you pay no attention at the end of the second half. and you give up that 60-yard run
on an inside edge.
On an
For any
inside
of you
edge.
Madden players, try to get that.
Yeah, because your entire defense just thought they were going to run the clock out. We're going to halftime. We're done.
They said it. They said we just want to get a couple yards to try a field goal.
Yeah.
Instead, you get a 54-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
With untouched. Yeah. That was the nail in the coffin for the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and who called that play? Who's calling the defensive plays right now?
Matty Woodford. Well, you don't have your team ready. I mean, it's just your team's either tuned you out, you don't have them ready. Either one, it's fireable. They're not going to do it, but that's the only way.
Eric knows what's going on, Eric. What's up, brother? Same old shit, man. I mean, again, we talked about it all week. Everyone's like, "I'm sorry, we're gonna do better."
The most frustrating thing is it's the constant unpreparedness, and then you come out and just lay another complete egg against a team that's fine. They're good. Arizona's decent, but 9 points after that week, like they should have been ripping and roaring.
I wanted to scream almost the entire game, but I sat there and I just kind of took it in and relaxed and watched. I didn't get so verbally, physically upset or mad until the end of the game. It's 29-9, and there's no timeouts left. He used all the timeouts with 7 minutes left of the game. Yeah. This guy could not manage a clock whatsoever.
No.
And then you saw Kyler Murray get pulled from the game because obviously they must care about him.
They're not going to score 20 points in 2 minutes.
And now you say you're going to leave Caleb Williams in with a bandage fucking broken down offensive line to practice 2-minute drills. It's just to get experience. Well, you get real life experience with a real fucking offensive line. So if you don't have a real offensive line out there, get them the hell out.
Where's Tyson at? I mean, Then
the last two plays of the game, we're talking 30 seconds left. Banged up both times. He's limping, and you leave him in there. Our franchise #1 draft pick quarterback in a blowout game. You leave in there.
It's professional. It's malpractice.
I got out. I was like, take him out of the fucking game. I was so mad, dude.
That's complete.
So mad.
It's complete malpractice. That should be fireable alone. And I heard a lot of good points today that, if you were going to fire a coach in season, this would be the week to do it when you're going in to play a really bad football team.
You want to know what the Bears, what they've traditionally done in the past? Guess what, Bears? None of it's fucking worked because you've been losers for the last 40 years.
It's true.
Hanging on to the coach at the end of the season, that's your tradition. You have a tradition of sucking too. So why don't we break that tradition and fire the fucking coach right now, dude?
I can't add anything to it.
Sorry, facts are facts, dude. And then on top of it, too, we find out at the end of the game that darn all right, Tears has an MCL sprain.
Yeah, that's great.
So our best offensive lineman is going to probably be out for the next 3 to 6 weeks easily.
When you've already got other guys out, it should be a lot of fun with this offensive line.
We're going to talk to a guy right now, my buddy Keith. I got to cool down. I'm going to have a sip of beer, everyone. This is brought to you not by Hams, but I'm going to drink it. We're going to bring my buddy Keith on. We're playing the Patriots this Sunday.
Thank God.
I'm sure he's feeling the stress that we're feeling right now as Bears fans. At least he had like 2 decades of just pure.
I don't feel bad at all.
We don't feel bad for you, Keith, before you come on.
Not at all.
No, but everyone, welcome to the show. My buddy Keith, my ESF brother, Silver Bullet. Keith, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Hey, no, thanks for having me. And as you said, we are ESF brothers.
Yes, sir. Mine's back there on the shelf, brother. So I keep it in sight. Keith, we appreciate you coming on tonight, man. Hey, could you do your camera sideways? Because you got like the skinny black bar down the middle. Can you do horizontal on your camera by any chance?
Yeah, sure.
There we go, my guy. Now we get to see more of your beautiful face, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Keith, you've been in this super fan game for quite some time, my friend. You've been going back for a while. So, obviously, before you became the Silver Bullet, bro, when did your love for the Patriots start? When did it all begin, sir?
So, well, I'm from New England, which I guess makes it easy to love all Boston sports. So, my very first Patriots game, I was 6 years old. It actually started before that, preseason. My grandfather had taken me to training camp, as a 6-year-old, just to see, hey, how's he going to last, 2-3 hours at training camp before he could take me to a game, which, you're going to be at a game basically 8 hours all day between the tailgate and the game and then the post tailgate. It's basically a full shift at work. So he had taken me to training camp, and I was already playing Pee Wee football. So I knew my way around football. In fact, I was actually a center. So the funny thing is, at the time, our quarterback was Steve Grogan. And we didn't even practice at what is now, Gillette Stadium. It used to be Sullivan Stadium. And our practice field was like 45 minutes away at Bryant College. Well, it's now Bryant University. It was Bryant College. And I actually grew up living like 15 minutes away from there in Rhode Island. So my grandfather had taken me there with a bunch of his tailgate buddies. And I'm yelling at Steve Grogan saying, how can you miss the wide receiver? He's off to the right. Like, wake up. So after the practice, he's leaving and, all the kids are at the fence, trying to get an autograph. And of course I had my trading card, at the time, because I'm 6 years old. So, and, got my bubble gum and my trading cards and
there's
and
adults out there with the trading cards right now. Don't feel too bad.
Yeah. So, I said, hey, can I get your autograph? He's like, whoa. He's like, I know that voice. He's like, were you just yelling at me a little while ago, telling me that I don't know my own routes and the wide receiver was, wide open and, to put my glasses on. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, because I saw him. How didn't you see him? I said, the wide receiver wide open, but what do? You throw it to the tight end who's got triple coverage. So he's like, that's hilarious. So he signed it. So that was number one, my first autograph, my first time ever meeting a player. And of course, ironically at the time, it happened to be our then quarterback. So it was then my grandfather said, you know what? All of his buddies loved me at the tailgate because my grandfather, they had 24 tickets together between everybody that he worked with because he was a teamster. He was a teamster at the time. So he took me in our first game that year versus the Dolphins. And I ended up being the beer boy because back then you could bring in coolers into the stadium because we had, aluminum benches with no backs and everyone would stick their little coolers underneath that could hold like, 12 packs. So I was the beer boy. Everyone would be like, hey, hey, Keithy, get me a beer. So I'm running back and forth. And the next thing I'm doing the same thing. I'm yelling. I'm like, come on, how are you missing the coverage? And everybody just thought I was the hot, they would call me a hot ticket. So I told my grandfather, if you ever don't have a ticket for Keithy, you let me know because I got one for him. So from then on, I got to go forever to games and not until, unfortunately, I wasn't old enough to go to the 84, Bears game. My grandfather was. The first Super Bowl I actually got to go to, of course, was in 2002, with Tom and the beginning of it all. And that's actually where I became the Silver Bullet because we ended up, I'm not sure if you guys know, if your team is going to Super Bowl, they put season ticket holders in a lottery, supposedly. Okay. But
yeah, we wouldn't know nothing about that.
So we had gotten drawn, and actually that was my cheapest Super Bowl tickets ever. It was $550 from the first time I ever went to Super Bowl as a season ticket holder. That's actually what face value was.
It's priceless
to go to. My friend. Oh yeah. So the last time I went in Atlanta versus the Rams, which was the second time, bookends, it was $37.50. So to think that, in 20 years, prices go from $550 to $37.50 for pretty similar seats is like kind of crazy. Like, wow. I don't know, but yeah. So they've actually gone up, exponentially because like the first time I went, as I said, it was $550. The next time I went, I think was $1,400. Then the next time, the third time I went was $2,100, and then this last time, was $37.50.
Oh,
so.
I bet you it's the people getting the tickets, selling them secondary market that kind of blows it for everyone,
Oh yeah. And that's what's sad is that they allow stuff like that. They allow people to buy, 8, 12, 16 tickets, which is just,
and they're selling them
outrageous.
for 10, 15 grand and there's some 1%ers out there that can afford it, and they're like, "Screw it, let's go."
Sure, get to sit next to Brad Pitt or Hub Arkish.
Sit next to Clooney in the box.
What bothers me most is that this is they're now my tickets. I was inherited from my grandfather. 37 years as a season ticket holder. So, but that doesn't give you any privilege. What people bought, I'm not sure if it's the same for all teams, but for our team, if you have tickets in a suite, you get guaranteed tickets to Super Bowl. Okay, 1-for-1. And it doesn't matter if you're only a 2-year, season ticket holder in the suites, 10, 20, whatever. You get guaranteed tickets, and we have to go into a lottery. So that kind of, pisses off a little bit, because when you say, we've been the ones who've been, diehard, we're here, we've been paying the money, for, going on 40 years. This is the 38th season that one of my grandfather's tickets. I have phenomenal seats, obviously, being 38 years, but that's besides the fact that we don't get guaranteed tickets, but someone who probably, might have bought their tickets 2 years ago up in a suite, they get to go no matter what. It's like, that's garbage, which is why I didn't get to go.
You're sitting on the bench next to fucking Belichick for a couple of years there, man. Jesus, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Close. My seats are pretty close. They're actually on the field, but the simple fact is I didn't go to all the Super Bowls because I wasn't about to spend 10 grand, for tickets and stuff. I'm like, forget that. So the 4 times that I went,
3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Oh, hum.
We don't feel bad for you at all, Keith.
No, I know, but I'm just saying what the biggest part is the whole, season tickets and club people, like they get the guaranteed tickets, and they're the wannabe fans that are up there staying warm. You know what I mean? Because obviously, much like you, we're an open air stadium, and we're just the common folk that have to park in the parking lot, and they're the ones that get to go into the stadium, 4 hours early and stay warm and be, eating steak tartare and lobster
shrimp and chicken tenders up there. Yeah, no.
I know. So, but
that ain't a football game.
That's the biggest part. That's what people don't get. It doesn't matter, especially the last couple of years that we've really sucked. Which reminds you, going back to the 90s when we totally sucked, and we won 1-15, which is how we actually got Drew Bledsoe, because we were the absolute worst in the NFL by far. And we picked Drew, our first overall, draft pick. But I tell people 90% of the fun is the tailgate. Like, it's the camaraderie, It's the friendship, the family.
Yeah.
For me, it's my family, because what people don't realize is I lost both my parents as a teenager. So in continuing with the tradition, of everybody in our tailgate, which I've been in the same tailgate now for 17 years, with the same group of people. There's 30 of us in total, but there's actually 4 of us, that run the tailgate, because each one of us have a grill, and each one of us, one has a bar, 3 of us have grills. So like we're all a significant part of the tailgate, and we, one's on one end, one's on the other, one's in the middle. So and we each have our own little, niches and, cooks that show up, but in the end, it's the 4 of us, that are diehard family.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about you losing your parents so early, my friend. That sucks. I could definitely tell you, if I was your grandpa doing what you're doing right now, man, you are keeping that tradition, those tickets alive, man. I'm sure it's everything he wished and dreamed for, man. So completely awesome what you're doing, going from that long-term heritage with your grandfather all the way today, 38 years later, man. It's absolutely amazing. What an awesome story to hear, man.
Yeah, and I'm not going anywhere. The funny thing is, he was a bigger Red Sox fan, because once he retired from the Teamsters, he actually was a peanut and popcorn hawker for Pawtucket Red Sox, which is the minor league team for the Boston Red Sox, which was literally 2 minutes from his house. So I believe it or not, even at this point in my life, I've gone to more Pawtucket Red Sox games than I can, Patriots games, because you got 180, games in a year.
Sure.
Was he around for the 2004 series?
No, he didn't last for either one. So the saddest thing for me was actually when the Patriots won it, in 2002. It was very emotional, because I was there, on his tickets, and it was like, Grandpa, this is for you. And then, of course, in 2004, when the Red Sox won, it was the same thing. Like those were his biggest things. I mean, he did like hockey and he liked basketball, and of course, we got it all here in New England. But those were his 2 diehards. He loved the Red Sox, he loved the Patriots, and without them, I wouldn't be me, because I actually do have season tickets to the Red Sox as well. And I have friends that have season tickets to the Celtics and the Bruins. So I actually went to the Celtics home opener with the dropping of the banner, and, the guys getting their rings and everything. So I had that opportunity, because I'll bring them to a game and they'll bring me to games. I'm actually going to the Bruins game this Saturday. Of course, I would have loved to come to Chicago, to see the matchup of, 2 pretty crappy teams right now. But,
yeah, we would have took care of you at the tailgate, man. You got the home with us at First and 10 tailgate, and you ever want to make the trip out here, sir.
I mean, hopefully you guys come up here, and I love to be a tour guide and show everybody around New England, because that's kind of one of my passions is history. like literally down the street from my house is Lizzie Borden's house that she lived there for 12 years with Annie Sullivan.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is
awesome. And what people don't know is the oldest library in the U.S. is actually 5 minutes from my house in Franklin, the Benjamin Franklin Library. And there's actual books in there, in a glass case that he actually, donated to the first public library in the U.S., back in the 1700s. So it's, we're very rich in history here. Like, obviously, from the Pilgrims.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yes.
To the beginning of manufacturing in the U.S., began all in Pawtucket, Rhode Island with Samuel Slater, fleeing England. But no, I love it. So anybody, and even any of your fans, if they ever want to come to New England and, get a chance and opportunity, I love being like a part-time tour guide because to me, I just, love showing off, my New England because there's just so much to do and see here that people like, wow, I got to come back. We couldn't have done it all, from between Salem, and the witch trials and the whole Boston Freedom Trail. And, there's just the USS Constitution. I mean, there's just so much here. The Boston Tea Party, like you name it, it's here. If you want to see history,
I'm definitely coming out there for that kind of stuff. Not going out there for the game, that's for sure.
But even Fenway Park, with Fenway Park being the oldest major league ballpark, in the U.S. as well, people will come up here for that. And I'm like, I don't care about football, but I'm coming to actually one of my friends, she's a Miami Dolphin fan. She came up here last year and I actually was able with my rep with the Red Sox. I said, I need a tour. This is one of my really good friends, who ironically did come up, for the Dolphin game as well. But we actually got a tour inside Fenway and she actually got to go inside the Green Monster, which she said this was on her bucket list, to go to Fenway because she had never been before. And we went up in the Green Monster, on top of the Green Monster. We got to go see the trophies. And then we actually joked, I don't know if you guys will get this. There was one empty, trophy case inside the Red Sox office. And they said, oh, what's that? They said, well, that's touring right now. It's doing a charity event. And she said, oh, she said, that's just like the Bills trophy room, completely empty. So the two of us got to joke about that, because of course, as we all know, the Bills are the only team in the entire NFL that have actually been to Super Bowl 4 times and didn't win a single one.
That's awesome. No, I'm a huge Cubs fan, but in the early 2000s, I was an honor. I had to pick a second team because the Cubs were just such a disaster. So I said, well, I'll just pick the American League Cubs, which are the Red Sox. So before I ask my question, how sad were you that the Yankees lost the World Series?
Oh yeah, just so sad. Because obviously they're our biggest rival, in baseball, and of course, at this point right now, it's probably the Bills, for NFL. It used to be, the Dolphins. I mean, the Jets, had a tiny bit of next to nothing. But funny story about the Jets. Actually, if you ever get a chance and you actually want to Google and check on YouTube, I'm the reason that Rex Ryan got fined $150,000 because I was at the game, Patriots, Jets, in New York or Jersey. And we started yelling at Rex Ryan saying, you're no Bill, Bill's better, you suck, Bill's better. And he literally, he swore and it got caught on tape and he ended up getting fined $150,000. And I said, you guys ever
remember that?
Listen to the chanting and you can hear it's my voice, saying Bill's better.
So the East Coast heckling sports fan is not just a stereotype. It's alive and well in the Silver Bullet, that's for sure.
Yeah, Steve Grogan and Rex Ryan.
You're gonna choke, jackass. Oh man,
yeah, it's hilarious.
When people think of the Patriots, of course, we immediately think of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But you brought him up, and I loved him as a kid, even in his jersey. How awesome was Drew Bledsoe to start?
Oh my gosh. See, he was our savior. People don't get that. So we really sucked in the 90s, the whole, 90, 91, 92, 93. And then we finally got Bledsoe in 94. And people like, wow, like we were sucking so bad. We actually went 1-15 and we went 2-14. And what people don't realize, well, being a season ticket holder, we're at every game. The season that we went 1-15, which the next season we got Drew, that one win wasn't even at home. It was in Indianapolis. And also in that year, we got our butts kicked so bad by the Dolphins. It was like 3-60. So it's like, how do you come back from that? Like totally getting spanked, And then like you guys were saying about earlier, At what point do you say, yeah, let's pull our starter out? We're far enough ahead. You know,
Yeah.
you were already kicking our butt when it was 3-42. Why wouldn't you take out your starters then, but just keep on playing them, you know, to get it up to 60? So,
Absolutely.
and we just sit there, you know, through the whole thing. And the funny thing is, not knowing, you know, then being young enough, I said to my grandfather and his friends, I said, hey, listen, there's a bunch of seats down there. Let's go. And my grandpa was like, no, this is our home. This is our family. We're here. I'm like, but there's a bunch of seats down there, you know, in the second level. He's like, nope, right here. You see this? This is our home. We'll always be here.
The seat
So
I
I
paid for
learned
this seat. Bronx-tailed you. He Bronx-tailed you. I paid for this seat.
That's it. Well, funny story, you say that. So as I said, you know, between my grandfather and his friends who were, you know, all in the Teamsters, they had 24 tickets. And if everybody didn't show up, what they would do is they'd put a sign on a cardboard that said, free, please take me. We didn't know if anybody would take them unless they showed up and sat next to us. You know, it's like, at least someone took our seats, you know, and they didn't go to waste and they're not still sitting on our windshield saying, you know, free, please take me. So, because, you know, there were points where you beg people like, hey, I wasted 2 tickets to the last game. Obviously, last week was Nashville, but the week before, I wasted 2 tickets. I got 6 tickets every game. I wasted them because everyone's like, yeah, I'm not going to go. I'll be more comfortable at home watching on TV. And that's why I always say 90% of the fun is the tailgate. Like
100%.
you always win at the tailgate, you know,
Yep.
and people just don't get
We are
that.
undefeated at our tailgate.
Yes.
For the,
Yes.
We've
That's
never
what I
lost
say.
ever before.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the best seat for football is your couch, but the tailgate can't be replicated at home. So there's no doubt about
Couch
that.
is
No,
pretty
not
dope.
even close. I don't.
No line for the bathroom.
I don't care.
Yep.
Very cheaper.
Yep. Nope.
Now, Keith, when you
And-
decided to become the Silver Bull, my friend, obviously being from Boston, Patriots, things of that nature, where did you get the idea for painting silver, going the whole American flag route? What was the idea behind that?
All right, so it's actually right here. You see that guy? So
Yeah.
they call him that's the Flying Elvis. So when I got my tickets to Super Bowl 36, I said to my friend's wife, you know, who was a dance teacher, I said, I want to be him. Let's do the best we can to create him. So I did do a sacrilege. I actually took a Drew Bledsoe jersey, ripped the one off the front and the back and his name. And I just went by Mr. One. I just wanted to be, hey, it's that one guy. That's it. That's all I wanted to be. And, you know, no names, no nothing. So, and I started off with the American flag around me and a hat that I actually made out of 3 hangers and some fabric that I hand painted. Ironically, the day before at the Super Bowl experience, Life magazine stopped me and said, you're by far the biggest fan we've seen here all day. And we got to put you, you know, in our magazine. And they did the following year, you know, calling me a fanatic. They said, oh, he's a fanatic. And then after the win, it just grew. So I just kept on going with the costume. And then 5 years later, after the first Super Bowl, I was in Miami because I traveled.
Later.
I traveled to away games. So every year I do every home game and I try to do 4 away games every single year, which we'll go back to later because one year, the year after COVID, I was so depressed that I just did every single home and away game just to get it out of my system. I'll never do it again because I lived out of a suitcase.
Cheap enough. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm in Miami. It's 5 years after my first Super Bowl. And the camera gets on me and the Dolphins announcers say, hey, look, it's the Silver Bullet from Foxborough. And I'm like, yeah, no big deal. So the next week I'm back home and then the announcers in Foxborough say, hey, look, it's the Silver Bullet. I wonder what gauge bullet he is. So as a joke, my buddies in my tailgate bought me my first Silver Bullet jersey that year for Christmas. But then ironically, the funny thing after that, which I have several pictures, when they would flash on me in the audience, they were then starting to put like, you know, Viagra and Cialis, you know, under me. They'd show me and then the little, you know, the little ad for Viagra and Cialis, because now you know what they were pointing to. You know, the little,
no,
you know,
your wife. It's just, I'm okay.
Your wife's friend your wife's little friend that's in her side drawer, you know, with AA batteries. So, because obviously, as you know, Silver Bullet has, it's got many meanings, besides Coors Light,
I was about to
and
say,
then the
how
whole
has Coors Light not reached out to you at this point in New England?
the woman's toy. So I do have an awesomely. I have the funniest story. If you guys would really want to hear it, and if we can say it, I don't know what you.
I need a funny story.
Yeah, we really don't want to talk about our football team, to be honest with you.
Let's talk
So
about funny shit, man. Let's go with that.
So a year ago, I actually had a really hot model from OnlyFans get in touch with me, and she said, "You're awesome. I'd love to reach Patriots fans, and you got a great fan base." She's like, "How'd you like to do me?" I said, "What?" She says, "Yeah." She said, "But I need you as Silver Bullet." She's like, and then can we paint your junk silver? She's like, and I'll give you a cut. I'm like, yeah, I don't see how that's going to happen because I'm involved with the Patriots charitable organization. And I go to boys and girls clubs, with players, to do autographs and pictures.
Ron Jeremy
That would
over here
just
dressed up as Silver.
That'd be phenomenal. You know what I mean? It's just like, sure. And everyone's like, just do it. She's hot. I'm like, really? But ironically, she was a Patriots fan. She's like, I love you. I met you at, the game in LA. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. She's like, I'm an OnlyFans. You can check me out. I'm legit. She's like, I'll give you a cut. And my buddies are like, just do it. Just do it. I'm like, yeah, okay. And that's going to get me ousted from the Patriots real fast. And I won't be going to any events with little kids.
She might give you a lot more than just a cut, my friend.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, not only that, they're like, oh, yeah, if she's going to let you go to town on her, you're good to go. I said, well, I guess I'd be taking some serious Viagra then. To keep that going. But anyway,
you're awesome, bro.
Yeah.
That is the best super fan offer that has been said on the show.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think I've heard anyone get any sexual offers.
Oh, that I've had a lot of those. I mean, that was like the biggest to get paid. Actually, another funny story.
Girls out by you. That's why you got to watch out.
So we played Buffalo on New Year's Day one year, and I had ended up winning tickets from the Patriots charitable organization, because they had donated money and yada yada yada. And they're like, hey, you got 4 free tickets in a suite, open bar and buffet and yada yada. I thought I was being smart. I said, Give me the last game of the year, the January 1st versus the Bills. I said, it's going to suck. The weather's got to suck because, mind you, the week before we played Miami, it was snowing, 20, 30 degrees. I'm like, oh, next week it's going to be awesome. It'll be nice and warm. You can open the windows and stuff. 60 degrees, 60 freaking degrees, January 1st. Anyway, long story, we're up in the suite because now I already let other people have my tickets because I'm up with some of my friends in the suite. Now, mind you, it's early morning because it's a 1:00 game. So we're up in the suite at, 10 a.m. Bunch of half-drunk people still from the night before because it was New Year's Eve the night before. But little did we know, we had people sneaking in the bathrooms doing a little something. Anyway, I had these 3 really hot girls come up to me. Yep. Saying, hey, can we get a picture with you? I'm like, yeah, of course, no problem. So start snapping pictures. All of a sudden, one of the girls is like, hey, can I kiss you? I'm like, sure, no problem. Why not? So she kisses me, and then the other was like, well, now it's my turn. So now the other girl starts kissing me, and now we're up to the third. She's like, well, if they're going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then this one, she just kept on going to town. Like she was all day Frenchie. So I go back over to tell my buddy I'm with. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. I just made out with 3 hot girls. He's like, no. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you see them over there? He's like, really? He's like, tell them that you want to take a picture. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went over. I'm like, do you mind taking a picture, with me? I said, because, my buddy didn't get to take a picture. Yeah, of course, no problem. I said, you want to kiss again? She was like, sure. So we start making out. Next thing you know, I hear yelling from behind me, what the? That's my wife. And my buddy's like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, you know what? That's all good. She's all yours. He's like, you want to do a shot? Let's go do a shot.
Oh my God.
So just some really crazy, funny stuff.
I'm coming hanging out with you, my friend. I'm going East Coast. I'm coming hanging out with the Silver Bullet. That's absolutely amazing, my guy.
It's crazy, And then one last funny one where I'm actually walking in with my group, and I have this, we'll look like mother-daughter. In the end, it ended up being an aunt and a niece. She was taking the niece, her first game, and the niece was like, 17, 8 years old, 18 years old. And she's like, oh, I need to get a picture with you. I'm like, sure, of course, no problem. So she's like, oh, yeah, she's fumbling because it was cold out and yada, yada, yada. So she's, fumbling to take pictures. She's like, oh, well, while we're waiting, she's like, if you want, she's like, you can feel my beaver. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, go ahead. So I'm like, okay. So I do. And then she's like, no, she said, I meant my fur coat. It's a beaver. I'm like, well, you didn't specify, so I just went for it. So
Silver bullet, man. Silver bullet, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, we had to party with this guy like ASAP. You should have came to Chicago, man.
I would have. I just went.
Group at our tailgate, my friend.
I just came from Nashville. This,
could have brought that little teddy bear Ted with you from the East Coast. It would have been a great time, my guy.
He's so much fun. You gotta love him. He's like my little inside voice. What would Ted do? He's my spirit animal. That's it. He's my inside voice. What would I do? So
you're definitely one of the most funny, entertaining super fans we've had on, man. Getting back to, unfortunately, the game, though. We got the game coming up on Sunday. Both teams are not looking very pretty at this point in the season. I'm sure we would both rather have both of our teams looking a lot better than they currently do. How you feeling going into this game versus the Bears this Sunday, my friend?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you watched. I know you barely wanted to watch your game this past weekend.
No, I watched the Patriots. Drake May's been moving around. He's been getting kind of on his feet.
Our game was awesome. Our game was beyond awesome. The fact that Drake had that that miracle pass. Who ironically, the reception was 15 feet in front of me, which I actually had a chance to video, and I was like, that is amazing. Like what the video I had to see it from the end zone seat, front row. They're like, that's amazing. In fact, everyone started sharing it because they're like, wow, it was just, I said, it just happened. It was just amazing where we picked our seats and where it happened literally 15 feet in front of us, and that was like, it seemed like forever. Like that play just developed forever. I don't know if you guys watched it or did watch replays of it. It literally seemed like it was 2 minutes. It just kept on going on. They're going back and forth. And, the first time all day, we're like, wow, we finally actually have, our O-line is actually doing something. They're keeping them from Drake. And then when they finally did go after Drake and Drake threw the ball, boom, it was caught in the end zone and, literally 15 feet in front of me. So it was definitely a great play and a great game. And you know what? We went into overtime, so nobody can say that it was a crap. In fact, even I have other friends in the ESF that for the Titans that said, yeah, this was just a great game all the way through. Both sides, had their ups and downs, but for us to go to overtime, both teams gave it their all. So, pretty happy, especially with the way Drake May is coming along and the fact that he didn't play the first few weeks because we had Jacoby, played and mentor him because obviously he's been around the league a long time. He actually got, a Super Bowl trophy ring with us, being a backup to Tom. So mad respect. He's great, loves the fans. So I have nothing but respect for, Jacoby. So we are looking up if we can, keep building on our O-line. Unfortunately, we lost both our centers, with the Andrews and one of my favorites, David Andrews, who's been in the league, for 16 years, and has 3 Super Bowl, championships of his own. But another great guy I've done charity work with, loves to do, charity work for the Children's Cancer Network up here, and we've actually done the buzz off together. We buzzed our hair off, together 1 year, so that was pretty awesome. But to me, the greatest thing is having players who are actually fan friendly, that understand the reason they have the salary that they do is because of us. The fact that I pay $14,000 a year for my season ticket.
Definitely.
Definitely. And I travel and, we buy the merchandise, you know what I mean? Like, it's us, we're the reason they actually have, the dream job that they do. And to me, the players that actually respect that and say, it's great, to meet you, not even me, to me, but just normal people, the normal fans that are there. I mean, I get it. you know, you know what's funny about being me, besides being the whole Clark Kent, you know, Superman thing that I get to, you know, come out with a different personality, is I get to see the way players treat, you know, the regular person versus, you know, the super fan, because they know that I'm there, you know, sponsored by the Patriots, you know, for times like, hey, you know, when you go to this charity event with the cheerleaders and Pat the Patriot and the player. But then when they see me out of uniform and they don't know me, it's like, that's kind of a different person. And I can actually say, fortunately, it's very rare that that happens. I have met a couple of players, you know, including Jones, who I'm kind of glad that he's, you know, now in Jacksonville, because Mac Jones was not fan friendly. In fact, I saw one of the saddest things in the world is we're at a charity event, and he actually puts his hand up to a little like 6-year-old's face and says, "Yeah, I gotta go," and just pushes him away. And I'm like, wow, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. And then, you know, and then you have other players
too.
You're not even good to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I think he just thought he was inheriting, you know what I mean? You know, the throne, you know, by coming in, you know, Cam for the 1 year and then him. And it's just like, you know what, dude, you're not even that good, you know, and I don't know how good you thought you were in college, but even then you weren't. So, you know, get over yourself. And I wish him well, but he already proved himself down in Jacksonville. You know, they throw him in and he fumbles. So, you know, hopefully we made the right choice. If not, you know, as you guys said, you know, you're not sad for me. The fact that, you know, we've been what we have for the past, you know, 2 decades.
Nope. None.
I know that I am, you know, one of the luckiest SOBs that you'll probably ever meet, you know, rooting for a team. One thing that pisses me off is the non-diehards, the bandwagon fans that aren't there, and then now they don't want to jump ship. I'm like, you know what? You don't like us? Go. Go ahead. You want to go be, you know, a Bills fan, or a Dolphin fan, or a Chiefs fan? Get out of here. Don't let the door hit you, but don't come back. We don't want to see you back. That's it. Yep. You're either here for life, as you can. I've said, I've been here since 6 years old, my first game, you know, and hopefully I'll be 106 when I go to my last game. But the simple fact is, you know, I live and die, you know, for Patriots and Red Sox. Like, nothing's going to change, good, bad, or indifferent, because I've seen the bad in the 90s, you know, and then mediocre in the 80s. And, you know, things started improving, you know, in the late 90s.
Particularly, it sounds like you paid your dues. So, I mean, you got the payoff in the early 2000s. So, you definitely went through the hard years, my friend. I'm sure you saw a phenomenal amount of people just completely jump on that bandwagon in the early 2000s with Tom Brady and you guys.
Even late 2000s. You know, the funny thing is, anyone that's under the age of 30 here, like, they don't know how bad we sucked. In fact, I ended up in the Apple, you know, Dynasty series that they made, which that's another story about that one. And I basically said that. I said, we suck so bad, like, people didn't want to go, you know. So if you were a fan back then you deserve to be the fan, you know.
Very true, my friend.
100%.
Through the 20 years. But these kids that grew up, you know, that might be whatever 18, you know, to 30, they don't know what it's like that we sucked. And now all of a sudden they're jumping bandwagons because, oh, now we suck so bad. And you know what I mean? You know, we're getting these, you know, high draft picks and nothing's come to fruition. But you got to look at other teams, you know what I mean? Like the Browns or the Falcons, you know, that, or even the Bills, who have been to Super Bowl, but don't have, you know, a championship and haven't had, you know, the Duck Boat Parade. Or so now, just to let you know, so this is actually one of the most precious things to me, because it was actually given to me by the Patriots to do the charity events. So I actually have a replica Lombardi.
Oh my God,
so
dude, that is amazing.
And I don't know if you guys can read that, but it is to the Silver Bullet.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, that's awesome.
So,
yeah, that's an organization taking care of its fans right there, dude.
And you know what? It's funny you said that, because I believe it was 14 years ago. I was in nothing against Cleveland Stadium, but I was in San Diego, which was my favorite place to vacation and go, you know, for a game. And I actually had a longtime fan, who season ticket holder. He said, you got the best owner in the NFL. I said, really? Why? He's like, our owner sucks. He's like, come with me. So out of respect, I did. He's like, touch that rail. So I touched the rail and I said, oh my gosh, someone comes rolling down this drunk. They're going to be fall themselves right down on the field. He said, now go touch that cement wall. I touched the cement wall. It just started crumbling down. And then, by the way, it was also the smallest Tron in the entire NFL that I ever seen in my life. So unfortunately, I kind of knew then that was probably the end of the Chargers being in San Diego, even though it was my favorite place to go. And the fans were so super friendly. So, and that could have been us. What people don't realize in the 90s, that could have been us because our team was up for sale before Mr. Kraft bought it. And they were looking at St. Louis, moving out to St. Louis, or anywhere else. And it was like, how do you be a fan, of a team that's going to be, 1,800 miles away? I don't know. I don't know how people do it.
East Coast massage magician, age 230.
Yeah.
Still out
saved
there
us.
killing it, man. Nothing but respect, man. Hey,
I tell people
there save you. Yes.
I tell people there are 3 Bs that saved the Patriots. One was Bob Kraft, that he knew enough to buy the team and keep it there because his hometown was Foxborough, just to let you guys know if nobody knew that. But he even had the foresight before. He bought the land that the stadium was leased on. So he knew he made it impossible for anybody else to buy the team and keep it there because he could charge them an exorbitant amount of lease going forward in the future. And the Sullivans, who had owned it, for the 20 years prior, sold it to him because he had it. He had it nailed. He knew like anyone else came in, could raise the lease the year after because it was only one more year of left on the lease. But once he saved it, what did he do? He built a new stadium, but the first thing he did, and it was the first time ever in the NFL, he gave up a draft pick to get us Bill Belichick. And what people don't realize is, okay, well, there's the second B. What's the third B? When we already had 3 quarterbacks, what did Bill Belichick do? He took Tom Brady in the 6th round when he didn't need him to make 4 quarterbacks, because who needs 4 quarterbacks, and said, you know what? This guy's got something. We can do something with him. So if it wasn't for Bob Kraft, Bill Belichick, or Tom Brady, we'd have nothing. We'd still be sitting there like the Bills with, no Super Bowl wins.
You hear that, Tiffany? No Super Bowl wins.
Oh,
Talking crap. Tiffany's going to kill you.
Oh, I love Tiff.
Well, Keith, it's been such a pleasure having you on today, man. It's been super entertaining. You've had me laughing the entire night, brother. I always tell everyone who comes on the show, we like to give each other shit, and we both want our teams to win. Hope it's a good game on Sunday, and then best of luck to your team, my friend.
No, you as well. Hey, take it easy and keep your chin up and try not to be depressed.
I'm coming out there to do some East Coast adventures with you, my friend. You're
Definitely
the first
We'll do a bunch of stuff. I love to be a tour guide. And any of your fans, if they ever want to reach out to me and say, boom, what's the best place to go and the best things to do? And by the way, we also have the oldest, longest standing pub in the entire U.S. It's actually Newport, Rhode Island. It's called the White Horse. And they still have horse tie-ups outside of the pub, which is pretty amazing. So
that's amazing.
Lots of history here. If anybody wants to see history or anything,
I'm sending them your way, sir.
All right. Take it easy.
Keith, well, have a good rest of your evening. Thank you so much for coming on. And good
you
luck
as well.
on Sunday, brother.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, bro. Have a good night, man. All right. Silver Bolt, everyone. Dude, Maxwell, salute to service this week before we leave. We didn't even talk about it. Got my Bear Army gear on tonight. My guy Lorenzo. Always doing awesome stuff for Operation Warrior Wishes. This past weekend at the Arizona game, our guy, Billy, the defense guy, put together an awesome tailgate at his family's hall out off of Damon, the McKinley Post. Did a Feed the Veterans tailgate. Besides the game, it was a super good time, good turnout. The food was absolutely amazing. BM5 came out. We had the crew there. All of our fat crew was out. So, like Silver Bull was saying, no one ever loses the tailgate, my friend.
It's very true.
Makes these seasons go by a little bit easier. So, all right, guys. So next week after this game, next Tuesday, we'll be talking about the outcome of the Patriots game as we prepare for our first NFC North battle of the entire year versus the Green Bay Packers at Soldier Field, my friend. So let's hope that the Bears get their crap together this weekend.
Yeah.
And they look a lot better than they did the last 2 weeks. And
it better be a get-right game.
They win at home, just not on the road, right? Isn't that the tradition?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, always I appreciate you guys watching, especially during these frustrating times. Love you all to death. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason we do the show. So appreciate you guys. Until next week, bear down, baby.
Thank you, and go Bears!
Bear down!
From Harrison and Wabash we rise, tailgating with excitement under the skies. The Foz is leading the way with Billy from the van, rapping jazz, dancing to the Chicago plan. Surrender Mandos is feeling the beat. Our baby bear and mama bear never defeat. Deaf bear and also roaring loud, and the stereo lurking among the crowd. The Hallis Tower, a symbol of might. Chicago handshake under the night. What is your profession? We ask. Legends of the game, a formidable task. Devin has to speed, behold. Mongo and Datum will never fold. Sweetness and Peter, heart of steel. Dick Buckers and Mike Dicker, the real deal. Super fans cheering with passion in the air. From Harrison and
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villian Report, and Red Zone Ranch. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla Hour, Brosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MManiacs. The nightly shows are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle Podcast, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, Off the Rails, and Detroit Lions News. Hope you like all the shows. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment.